created to have some fun together, sharing and singing. So, join and enjoy.
Our love for opera brings us together. Thanks for being with us in this trip.
Now it's time to go for Katia to share something for us. So, what is it that you are going to sing for our very favorite composer that is Mozart?
Well, I'm about to share Durch Zärtlichkeit und Schmeichel from the Edführung aus dem Serail. I know it doesn't belong to Le Nozze di Figaro, but I have already shared with you the Vieni non tardar, and I wanted to perform something different. Um, Talking about this complicated issue that Mozart means. Uh, well, this aria it is virtuosistic, but it's tender, but it's kind, and it's complicated because you have to float it. But with color, and well, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Durch Seligkeit versprechen, Gefälligkeit und Scherzen, erober meine Herzen, der gute Mädchenlein, der gute Mädchenlein. Doch morgens es vergehen, und kommt der Sonnentage, und kommt der Sonnentage, Malta sind wenig Tage, Salib als Säuerwein, Malta sind wenig Tage, Salib als Treuenwein. Solid als Treuenwein. Durch Seligkeit und Freiheit, Gefälligkeit und Scherzen, erobert meine Herzen, der gute Mädchen leicht, der gute Mädchen leicht, du purisches Befehlen und Poltersargen Wagen und Poltersargen Wagen, mach das eben Tage, so lieb als Treuenwein. So lieb als Treuenwein. Zärtlichkeit und Schmeichel, Gefälligkeit und Scherzen. Erobert meine Herzen, der gute Mädchen leicht.
I can't believe it's over. I managed to put the score on the screen. For some reason, I thought that it had another repetition, but it doesn't.
No, it does.
But it shows just what I was telling you before. Mozart likes to wrap up his arias with no notes at all. It happens just like that, like I don't know how to say, like suddenly the singer stops singing, and so the music goes for a couple more seconds, and that's
But
pretty much it. But what we just heard is a perfect example of what you said. Even if the soprano has the high notes, it is not sung full voice, because full voice loses the sense of the aria. This very nice opening, this very nice phrasing is to be sung like, also maybe like you said, like playing. If you notice the whole melodies, ta-da, ta-da-da-da-da-da-da. You see, like I don't know, like if you were daydreaming, like you
Yeah.
were doing something like that. And even though this opera is also it's somehow a drama because it's also telling us something that is not
Yeah.
very nice, but he manages to put this lovely piece in there. And I wanted to ask you, of the two female roles that are having written for stratospheric voices by Mozart, which one is your favorite?
Oh, oh no, I cannot choose. No, I love Martin Allen Arten too. Um, well, I think that I have a special feeling for Blonde, but I love both of them. I was thinking that mm, we usually think of Mozart as funny, yes, as fun, but also as playing. You know, it is very known for the most of people that he had a very I lost the word bromista. He loved jokes. He loved to make jokes. There's some musical piece that is known as scherzo, like a joke, because you're expecting something and he finishes in a very different way of that expected issue. So I think that that joy, that cheerful personality is written in every single note of his music. It is a drama because the Erführung, it's it's a kidnapping.
Yeah.
So if you study the story, two ladies has been kidnapped by help me please.
You mean the let me go back to the names because I am very bad at names, but we
A
are about
pasha.
to. Yeah, by the Pasha. Yeah.
Yes, they have been kidnapped by the pasha. They have been sold to a kind of RM,
Mm-hmm.
and finally, well, it is a happy ending because they became rescued. But it's not a funny story if you analyze and think what's going on stage. But the music takes you to enjoy and to have fun. He makes fun of every situation.
Yeah, and in fact, the role of this guy that would be the bad guy of the movie, is in fact a funny character on stage, and he
Yeah,
basically doesn't sing. He's more of a spoken character, even though it is for a basso. He's more of a funny character, and at the end they make laugh of him. But even though he's cruel, even that cruelty, and I think that's part of the genius of Mozart. Even for a very cruel part, he's able to make it lovely, to make it enjoyable, like if the
yeah,
drama was not there. And because I don't want to say that making a drama out of a drama is easy, because it certainly is not, to manage the emotions, but to transmit the message of a drama through joyful music, it's certainly a challenge, certainly is. And I was also thinking, and I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on this? I was telling you earlier that Mozart usually writes with not much ornaments, not many high notes, not many. long notes. He's usually very. He has a very, like, if you allow me to use expression, like a very compact way of writing. We were also mentioning that it as a natural speaking. That's the way he likes to compose. But his three ladies, the Queen of the Night, Constance, and Blonde, are completely the opposite. I think they are the highest, the continuously highest roles of all the opera literature. So how he
Yeah.
managed? Why did he decide that the Queen of the Night? Because he also in the same opera has Pamina, which is a very standard role, but the Queen of the Night
Yes.
goes very very high in the sky. Constance goes very, very high in the sky, and Blonde, as you just heard, also very, very high in the sky. Why do you think that she gave these extremely high notes to her three female characters?
I think that probably it has to do with the singer he fell in love with, because the highest note written in an opera is written for the Queen of the Night in der Hölle Raj, and there is also a higher note. There is a G in Vorrei spiegarvi, o Dio. I don't
I
know
I
if
don't think
that.
I've read I don't think I've read the score sheet, but yeah, that could be.
Yeah, I think it's Vorrei spiegarvi, o Dio. It is a G. I mean, we are talking about an F in for the Queen of the Night, but a G in this another piece of music. Probably it has to do with the singer. Um, but I think that it's a kind of joke too. I don't know, a joke for who, because probably for the sopranos that cannot sing those notes.
That's anything but a joke.
I think so. Oh, thanks God I can.
And we are getting close to the end of the program, and we haven't mentioned that the Queen of the Night, the great favorite and the ultimate target of most sopranos, but which unfortunately is so high in the sky for most sopranos to even get closer. Even the most famous sopranos haven't sung it as written. They usually, sing it lower, little lower. It usually happens, or when they do, what happens with the coloratura voices is that they are usually very white. So you really don't believe a girl who sings like an adolescent that she's the cruel queen of the night. Usually you don't believe it. When you listen to Madame Robin version of the Queen of the Night, you really don't believe it's a cruel woman.
No, no, it is a complicated work because you're telling your daughter that she has to kill someone or the hell's anger is gonna explode against everyone. How can you say that when it sounds like I mean it's like black and white in the same idea, and it is a dramatic piece of music, but it is written like allegro assai.
Yeah. And before we get engaged in talking about the Queen of the Night, because now that people have heard that you sing the Queen of the Night, I am pretty sure they are expecting some of the Queen of the Night for today's.
Probably I would.
But before we go again into the stratospheric way of writing, let's go back to the earth. Let's go back to normal, and let's go back to how difficult but nice it is to for singers. And I have heard many famous mezzos. And it is time to talk about the Cherubino, this adolescent who wants to be a lover of any woman who approaches him. But we have to say that it is one of the first roles where a woman actually portrays a man. I have read some comments on these roles that are called travestitos because instead of a man, it is by a woman. And I am not so sure about what I have read. They say that it is better sung by a mezzo because it is not still a man. He's an adolescent, so his voice it will be
It's wider.
changing, so he sounds lighter, but I don't think as lighter as a mezzo, given as we have mentioned before that there are many mezzos whose voice is more powerful than many tenors. So, because I
That's right.
recall having heard Giulietta Simeonato singing Cherubino, and she used to sing with calas, so
I
they
don't
went for the
imagine Agnes Balsa singing Cherubino.
and there are many mezzos which are excellent mezzos, but mezzos for verismo, mezzos for something else. But for singing cherubino, if you allow me, and it's just a matter of perspective. From my perspective, the best cherubino that I have heard is Frederica von Stade. For me, Frederica really nails it. In one hand, because Frederica doesn't have this huge mezzo's voice that sounds like Carmen, like you know what we shared last week. She doesn't sound like that Carmen. So with that nice mezzo voice, she sings it. From my perspective, the best version of this aria is if we are to keep that understanding that a man who hasn't changed his voice has to be sung by a woman. I'm not sure about that. The same as in Balo in Máscara. Oscar los amanolera, tra-la-la-la-la. That is the other famous travestito role. But personally, I don't know. I don't feel so comfortable about, because I also read a comment that they say that provided he's an adolescent, his behavior must be more than manly, like a female. So I don't know. I think we are overthinking everything for something that Mozart was already playing with. And before we go to that, and so that we have enough time for listening to the Queen of the Night, I was telling you that we go back to Earth. As going back to Earth, it's going to be Cherubino. And notice that the name Cherubino isn't by accident. He gave that name on purpose, because you know that the cherubims if you are a believer in the Christian or Catholic, the cherubims mean something very special,
Kind of angel.
kind of angel. So that's that. I think we also find there that Mozart is playing with the name as well. So that is Cherubino and this very lovely melody that, provided that we don't have a mezzo in the program, I will have to go with it. So, but remember that a mezzo sings it is no warranty that it will sound as well. I also insist on what we shared before. This aria has to be sung also like floated. You give full voice and everything is spoiled. It has to be lovely, floated, not all the pasta in there, and giving the best so that you sound, your musicality matches Mozart's proposal. So let's listen how it goes. Voi che sapete che cos'è amor, non ne vedete, sia lo nel cor, sento l'alma vampar e in un momento torno a gelar. Ricerco il bene fuori di me, non so chi il tiene, non so cos'è, sospiro e gemo senza voler, palpito e tremo senza saper, non trovo pace, non te ne di, ma por mi piace languir così. Voi che sapete che cosa amor, non ne vedete, s'io lo nel cor, non ne vedete, s'io lo nel cor, non ne vedete, s'io lo nel cor. That very lovely wrapping up of Zoni Vedete. If you could tell me if love is what I have in my heart. And that is the innocent Cherubino who has been with every woman who approaches him trying to get her love. But let's go back to the stratospheric heights of the Queen of the Night, because as I was telling you, it's one of the most desired roles by every soprano. It is the role that every soprano wants to sing, even if she is 5 notes lower than what is actually written. Because,
Yeah.
because people think that the only difficult part is that you have the high notes.
Trust me, it's not.
That would be the easy part, because if you have the notes, you have the notes. But the very special sound of the Queen of the Night, how you give that strength without sounding ridiculous, without really sounding funny, because when you are playing with your notes, it is very easy to think that it is just like, like Olympia. Like the doll playing with, and it is not like that. And for me, if the Queen of the Night does not sing her opening aria well, you lost it. Because if you did it well in your first aria, then people know how, or are expecting even more for your second aria. Which, by the way, I haven't asked you if you are singing us the first or the second aria by the Queen of the Night. The second one. Or the two of them.
No, the second one, please. You want to kill me.
Okay, so Katia already told us what it is going to be about. The very kind Queen of the Night is asking her daughter to kill her father. Well, a very cruel message, but you have to watch the whole area for that. And what we are about to hear is pure virtuosism, notes that are very, very high in the stratosphere, and a very lovely melody that has been part of the soundtrack of many, 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 many movies in history.
Yeah. Well, let's pray for this.
I'm not praying. I mean, I don't.
I am. Der Holy Reit, not in meinem Herzen. Unversaglich.
So you just heard one of the, as I was saying, one of the most desired roles by every soprano, but that is, how many years do you think it takes to sing it fairly well?
Poof. I would say that at least in my case, uh, 8 years of academic study and probably another 6 months to prepare it as it should be. I mean, in those first 8 years, your vowel level should be ready to approach and face a piece of music like this one that is one of the probably most difficult areas ever written, and also the time to study, to check every note is right, that you are singing every note, to give the intention, to take care of the line. Yeah, I would say that like I don't know. Let's be optimistic. 3 months.
So, people, if you want to sing it fairly well, be ready to invest more than 5 years, I would say.
Yeah.
So, with that very, I don't know what adjective, I don't say surprising, that amazing interpretation of the Queen of the Night by Katia, we want to say you to tell you that we really want to thank you for having shared these melodies by Mozart today. I would be singing or listening or watching Mozart through, as I was telling you, maybe all night long. Hope you
Yeah.
have these with these several pieces that we shared today. You have more of an overview of what Mozart's writing composition style was, and of course, I know that if you happen to pay more attention to his music, I'm pretty sure you will fall in love pretty much as we have done ourselves. What else would you like to tell or to sing us?
Oh my God, I would like to sing the second part of the aria. Probably I will. And well, Mozart is as complicated as his music, or his music is as complicated as Mozart. Let's remember that there are several studies that mention the benefits that his music has on health, on our minds, our brains. So it's not just like he sounds beautiful. I mean, he does, but there are so many other things behind. I think that we should dedicate a season of our podcast just to talk about Mozart.
We certainly. So, and let me tell you that to wrap up today's program with the second part of the Queen of the Night is nothing you will be able to hear anywhere else. So, people, pay attention to this, and of course, we thank in advance Katia for sharing this jewel that Mozart wrote for the most difficult role in the writing of history of opera.
Okay, let's go ahead.